In 1917, Marcel Duchamp submitted a urinal to an art exhibit. That's pretty absurd, isn't it? So much so that here and now, some 106 years later, people are still debating whether this was just an epic bit of trolling, or rather a thoughtful statement on the pretenses of fine art. The reason I bring this up is that this sort of provocative, or perhaps vulgar, affront to prevailing sensibilities is the core of this video's subject. Though I'm not talking about fine art, rather something far more important. Video games. Today, we're investigating the curious phenomenon that is the troll level. We'll start by going back to where troll levels came from and learn how they came to be. From there, we'll discover and dissect their multitude of tricks and traps and get to know the people who make them and the people who play them. We'll also examine how troll levels bend and break game design in ways that are reshaping the medium and how they may be part of a broader cultural movement. With that said, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the wondrously wacky world of anti-design.
Oh! That's rude.
Just watch. We will not fall for a single other troll.
That is totally gonna pull me into a pipe.
Icicle. This is the beauty of trolls, right? You have this, like, what's the word? Is the word elation? Is that the word? And then you just have this deflation, and you just feel like absolute shit.
You have just enough time each time to regret your decisions. Oh no, wait, no, it did it again! It gave me just enough time to regret my decision.
It says stand here. I'll stand here. Oh. 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 Oh dear.
Janine. Front of the class. No, it matters. It matters very much so. Was it intentional? Ask Steve.
Oh, something's gonna happen.
I'm scared. No!
See, he knows. He knows that when I get scared, I panic and I run. And that's exactly what he banked on me doing, and that is exactly what I did, because I am being played like a goddamn fiddle.
Previously only the domain of fan games and ROM hacks, Mario Maker brought the ability to create custom Mario levels into the mainstream in 2015. With its easy-to-use editing tool and online level sharing service, Mario Maker would prove to be a smash hit and a rare bright spot for the troubled Wii U console. A sequel would make its way onto the far more successful Switch 4 years later. Over these past 8 years, Super Mario Maker levels have carved out their own sorts of unique subgenres: puzzle levels, speedrun levels, music levels. The ever-challenging Kaizo levels, auto levels, and so on. Crowdsourcing from the entire World Wide Web, there have been some absolutely sensational world-class creations to come out of Mario Maker. But just as this massively interconnected forum can bring out the most inspired creativity in us, sometimes some more unsavory behaviors come along for the ride. And in Mario Maker, this manifested as a distinct style of level, if you could call it that. These levels were motivated by what most would call intentionally bad game design, or perhaps more succinctly, evil game design, or sometimes just plain bad design.
Oh god. Oh, this looks like it's gonna be a level.
Many of them would kill the player within seconds of the level starting. Some presented the player with a multitude of paths with only one correct way forward and no obvious way to tell which path that was. Others were only completable by finding a deliberately hidden dev exit or otherwise had extremely obscure ways of beating them. As you might expect, such levels quickly became the bane of the Super Mario Maker community, who frequently derided them as hot garbo. Oh, sorry, not her. 1 second. Yeah, there we go. The Mario Maker community certainly could have written off such levels as the typical background noise of the internet, the unavoidable cost of the creative liberty afforded by the platform. But then something incredible happened. In this primordial soup of awfulness, a new breed of levels started to take shape. Level creators pondered whether something worthwhile could be salvaged from these burning heaps of trash. They began to ask questions. Can we make these frustrating levels fun, or at the very least engaging in some way? What if the problem with these levels isn't their intent, but instead the quality of their craft? What emerged from this dumpster crucible is the subject of my video today. The troll level. I find the troll level to be a fascinating phenomenon. The troll label is a bit of a misnomer, but unfortunately it has stuck around since these early days. Early troll levels certainly caused more than their fair share of frustration, but a more accurate summary of troll design is playful antagonism.
I didn't listen to the instructions at all. They were right there.
A troll level aims to prank its player, not upset them. Most importantly, troll levels are being made to this day, despite it being 8 years since the original Super Mario Maker was released, and almost 3 years since the last major update to Super Mario Maker 2 was added. All of this is a testament to the incredible community that has formed around playing and making troll levels. Thanks to this communal presence, troll levels have come from being a one-off fad to an established style that features some of the most ingenious and elaborate creations in all of Mario Maker. Troll level designers critique and riff on each other's work, sometimes collaborating together to brainstorm the most mischievous traps and gags.
In the Discord channels and the community discussions, people constantly share these sort of grand concepts to make to help other people make their levels better.
Troll level players have become their own unique brand of content creator, with notable figures streaming their attempts and uploading their playthroughs.
True professionals fall for everything. I don't know where this notion came that to be good at trolls you had to dodge them. What's this?
And let me tell you, these are some of the most hilarious videos I've come across here on YouTube. If this video does nothing else, I will be happy if I just turn more folks onto these creators and videos, because they are a constant source of joy and humor. So far I've talked about the history of Super Mario Maker troll levels in this section, but I should note that they're not the only or even first attempt at this type of level design. So quick pause here, you may be noticing these little annotations down in the bottom right. These numbers correspond to a spreadsheet that I've compiled of all of these troll clips. So if you want to know more, please go check that out. As I mentioned in passing, the Mario series has had an established fan game and ROM hack community for years prior to Mario Maker's release. And pertinent to our conversation about troll levels today, there was a fan game that was perhaps the progenitor of all troll levels. Shobon Action, commonly referred to as Cat Mario, was released in 2007 by independent Japanese game developer Chiku. Shobon Action is best described as a satire of the original Super Mario Bros. And as such, we see many of the troll level techniques we'll be exploring today. So why am I focusing on Super Mario Maker troll levels, which came out 8+ years after Shobon Action? There's a few reasons for this. First, I suspect most of you watching this video have either never heard of Cat Mario or had a "oh shit, that's a deep cut" sort of reaction to its mention. The game certainly had its moment in the viral limelight of internet culture, but like many things that do, it came and went without a lasting, widespread impact. Now, part of this is no doubt the fact that social media of the time wasn't what social media is now. But I do think Mario Maker helped more people discover the magic of troll levels by making editing and distributing custom Mario levels so much easier. Yes, troll level design existed before it, but combining Mario Maker with the ever-expansive and all-consuming social media of today is what it took to establish the troll level as a permanent fixture. Secondly, the fact that Mario Maker troll levels have to play within the rules and use only conventional building blocks is another point in their favor from where I sit. Limitation is an amazing source of creative inspiration, for one, and it definitely shines through for Mario Maker troll levels. Two, and this is no shade on ROM hack and fan game trolls, but their reliance on scripting bespoke items and custom behaviors that you wouldn't normally see in a Mario game kinda diminishes how legitimate their trolls feel. In contrast, when troll magic occurs in Mario Maker, it's impressive. Troll magic is the type of interaction that is wildly unpredictable for the player, but used to deliberate effect by the troll creator.
Except troll magic is about to happen in 3, 2, 1. What's gonna happen? Oh!
Now, what's the troll here? That's the troll!
I was looking forward to troll magic to rescue me, and it did not. It did not come to save me. It did not come to my aid. There was no troll magic to help me there. It was just to cause my end. And it's understandable. I had it coming.
Okay.
I didn't believe it. Oh! Wait, how is the contraption moving? Look at how it's moving. Wait, that's... Oh my god.
I mean, maybe there's a troll magic or just door. I believe in troll magic. The real troll magic was that the level actually convinced me to try that.
This is impressive because, in Mario Maker, the troll level creator probably spent hours, if not days, weeks, or months, experimenting with various combinations to discover this one particular one. And then it takes them even more time to integrate that into their level. And since this is all following the rules of Mario, for the most part, it elicits a sort of begrudging respect from the unsuspecting player. It's like when a character in a story finds an obscure loophole to get them out of a bind. It's the magical and elusive emergent behavior that we purveyors of game design fawn over. There's also some interesting quirks about Mario Maker levels that make them particularly great for trolling, which we will get into.
No? Okay. Holy fuck! Now that's guts!
But most importantly, the Super Mario Maker troll community cultivated a distinct design ethos which has allowed the troll level to flourish. And there was a singular voice that may have laid the foundation for these design sensibilities.
The Troll Guide. Anyone who's new to trolls needs to read that. Before you start breaking the rules, you need to know the rules. Once you have mastered the rules, you can break them.
Come April 2019, prominent Mario Maker community member Defender1031 created a document called Trolling for Dummies. With troll levels already being a thing for a few years at this point, Defender reflected upon which troll levels had worked well and which fell short.
The troll community was coalescing at that point. There were a lot of people who, wanted to get in on it, wanted to get their levels into Carl videos, etc. Those who had more experience creating troll levels sort of each had some of the pieces for good troll design, but nobody had a cohesive idea.
Drawing upon the community's tastes, Defender's Guide was an effort to codify what exactly makes a good troll level.
The truth is, people say I wrote the troll guide, and, it's true. They're my words that I put on paper, but many of the concepts and a few of the specific phrases came from other members of the troll community. At the beginning of the guide, there actually is a list of acknowledgements that everybody skips over.
In hindsight, the timing of the guide's initial publication appears to be just about perfect. Super Mario Maker 2 would release a few months afterward, introducing a host of new options for level creators. This would broaden the spectrum of wacky interactions off which troll levels thrive.
What is going to push me into that spot to the top right?
And with this plethora of options, troll creators needed a bit of discipline to hone their creativity.
I think the Troll Guide as a whole was a really good stepping stone for the community. It allowed... There was, in my opinion, at the time, there was probably a little bit of a problem with the community where there was a handful of creators that were trusted for Carl to play levels from. Straight away, you see a Steve-O level at the time, he was known as Bowser, a Bowser level or Bowser, he'll play it. Shay level, play it. You know, Defender, play it. Potato Chan, play it. But it was really hard for new creators to sort of strut their stuff. I think the Troll Guide gave a really good way for new creators to get into Mario Maker and to make troll levels in a simple way, nothing too complex. You know, you don't have to do a big Juju stem, you know, massive twice level. You don't have to do that. You can make sort of more simpler stuff, and here's how you do it.
As an outsider, it's difficult for me to say, but in this way, Defender's document feels like a foundational element of the growth and endurance of the Super Mario Maker troll community. One of the most pertinent insights from Trolling for Dummies is a fairly succinct summary of what troll levels are all about.
Be aware of the anatomy of a troll setup. The best troll setups are those which violate the player's expectations. In order to do that, a setup needs to make the player think they know what they need to do. Have them fail in a humorous way when they do it, and then let them know what it was that they were supposed to do instead. If any of these components is missing, a troll setup will fall flat. If a player doesn't think they know what to do, they will not have an expectation to violate. If they don't fail, or there's no humor, then they'll wonder what the troll was. And if they don't have an idea of what to do right the next time, they'll just end up confused rather than amused. Make sure that each setup has all three components.
Here we see that troll design sets out to subvert the received wisdom of conventional game design. Troll levels frequently do things that are usually considered verboten, like punish curiosity or reset a player's progress. At the same time, Defender's Guide reinforces many game design foundations. Take for instance this passage.
Since trolls are all about violating a player's expectations, you need to first make it clear to the player what options they have available, or at least what options you want them to think they have available, before you can amuse them by making them choose the wrong option. The player should never have a point at which they feel as though they have tried all the available options and have no further ideas, because it seemed as though all the options they had were wrong.
So then, troll level creators need to practice good game design, to communicate effectively and dispel any unintended ambiguity, to clearly establish expectations, to ensure proper pacing, and so on. Normally these practices are used to entertain and reward the player, but here they're used to ultimately trick and undermine the player's efforts. Troll levels are satire of game design principles, taking something that should be fun and tweaking it in just the right, or perhaps wrong way, to make something that, at first blush, seems frustrating.
Of course you made it that it's safe except for that side of the pit.
But then they go even further beyond, looping around to become something ultimately fun for the player.
But it was kind of thrust upon me, and then I found the magic that was troll level design, which is you're kind of being forced to participate in a magic show. You're like, are we any volunteers? And you put your hand up, and the magician pulls you on stage, which is the troll creator.
Mushroom falls off screen and lands behind the bullet bill in a way that it's not visible. To me, the reveal feels just like a sleight of hand magic trick.
And then you kind of, oh, I'm gonna pick this card. Oh, the rabbit's in the hat. And, you know, it just subverting the subversion of expectations immediately brought me in.
This is what I find endlessly fascinating about troll levels. They are good design pretending to be bad design.
That's what they say, you know, like actual people who do magic shows, right? Like stage magic, will tell you that the art of magic is being more prepared than anyone thinks you could reasonably have been, right? You know, having the rabbit hole go just a little bit deeper than anyone thinks it possibly could have gone. And that's also the art of trolling. Like you make something that looks like, you know, some garbage that somebody threw together in 2 minutes, but you actually went to great lengths to to line something up and make it work the way that you want, right?
See, it's funny, growing up, you know, there were those magicians, right? Like inside the magician's code and all that. Now I find there are different magicians. troll magicians.
Reading Trolling for Dummies as a game developer, I'm struck with how much it resembles a game design textbook. The guide emphasizes simple reminders for creators to project themselves into the position of the player, to communicate clearly, to streamline and remove unnecessary elements, shorten feedback loops, and, of course, to playtest, playtest, playtest. Honestly, there's a good bit of wisdom in here for all game designers, new or old, like this section. I hope that you're beginning to identify the unique character of troll levels. But just to clear up any misunderstandings, I think it's important that we quickly discuss what troll levels are not. There are certainly other game design patterns and philosophies that are adjacent to and may be mistaken for troll levels, so I think it's helpful to exclude some of these before we continue. First of all, troll levels are not necessarily difficult and are rarely so in most cases. The best troll levels don't ask their players to do anything requiring high technical skill, like, say, shell jumps or precision platforming. In fact, I would argue that a troll level maximizes its effectiveness by lowering its barrier to entry as much as possible. So just to be clear, both troll levels and Kaizo levels can be evil in their designs, but the flavor of evil is very different between these two. Troll level design can certainly employ difficulty, but they are not grounded in difficulty like Kaizo levels are.
So for me, I feel as though it kind of relieved the pressure off playing troll levels, because I am bad at the game. I'm bad at the game. I'm not very good with mechanics. I'm not really good with remembering mechanics. It's the reason why to this day I'm still like, oh, does that normally happen? Or is that new? Or is that a glitch? For me, it was this, okay, I can play these levels. I find them to be really fun because I am just sort of taking the piss out of myself. And more or less, there's no need to be great at them, because being good at a troll level means dodging everything. And it's impossible to dodge everything. It's literally impossible. I don't care if you're the best player in the world and know everything. You will always fall for some sort of troll in a troll level. So it just relieved that pressure of being good at the game. It allowed sort of sass to, sort of a sass back between chat and myself, which I enjoy. As long as it doesn't go too far, I think it's fun. I think it's funny. I'm not personally offended by any of that.
Second, despite my reference to Fountain at the start of this video, amateurish or low-effort levels are not troll levels either. Now, again, troll levels can certainly use elements that resemble these sorts of underbaked creations. Many a troll level creator have riffed on World 1-1 from the original Super Mario Bros., which has been a hallmark of, well, let's just call them uninspired levels. But again, as we will see, the troll levels we are examining in this video tend to involve a lot of thought and craft in their development. Thirdly, troll levels are not purely frustrating. A lot of digital ink has been spilled over games like Pathologic and Getting Over It lately, particularly along the lines of questioning whether games must be fun. But troll levels differ from such games in a very important way. Troll levels have a more playful, prankish nature to them. If you're in on the joke, you will likely have fun playing a troll level, even or especially when it's screwing you over. Watch some of these playthrough videos. You'll see that laughter is a common reaction to troll level antics.
Oh, good. That's beautiful.
I'm definitely gonna end up in the room here because I always do. So how will I end up in there? Oh. Answers are beyond immediate.
An intelligent person would not YOLO jump this for fear of the Kaizo block, because we've already seen the Kaizo block. But as we've already established, I am that idiot. Let's go!
With games like Pathologic, knowing ahead of time what to expect is unlikely to alleviate the frustration and stress that comes with playing it. Indeed, that these games act as a sort of cortisol pump is part of the attraction. With troll levels, this is not the case. Levels that are just mean don't tend to garner much praise or attention in the community. Troll levels instead rely on a sort of alchemy to transform frustration into fun.
The biggest piece of advice in the Troll Guide, which came from Potato Chan, I believe, which is troll levels are meant to be funny and not frustrating.
This is done in a number of ways, by clearly communicating expectations with the audience, through comedic tone and timing, by carefully assembling what amounts to a mischievous puzzle.
All right, we are gonna do some troll predictions.
And this leads us to our final point here. Troll design is not bad design. Troll design is good, sometimes great game design that is pretending to be bad.
I think people underestimate, especially beginning troll level creators, underestimate how much effort goes into making it feel good to play. You know, we constantly argue about, you know, how high should the semi-solid be so it feels nice to jump on. You know,
that happens every 5
opening
or 10
up
minutes.
opening up the area so that you don't bonk against something and it slows you down on the run back, right? And this kind of care is not something you really necessarily notice while you're playing. It's something you don't notice, right? You only notice it when it's not there.
You only notice when the thing is actually annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
And since I'm using the subjective value-laden words of good and bad here, let me elaborate. I believe game design is like any other artistic endeavor. Storytelling, painting, acting, musical performance, etc. It's a way to communicate with other people, and its effectiveness can be measured in how well it communicates. Bad game design, then, is usually nothing more than bad communication. It's a game that doesn't clearly identify its goals, or is inconsistent or confusing with its rules. It either fails to create expectations within its players, or it creates underwhelming expectations, or it creates expectations that it can't deliver upon. Bad design thus results in a finished product that greatly falls short of the intent and aspirations of the designer. What we're left with is an incoherent yet uninteresting mess. Essentially, this.
The big red am winning again! I am the greatest! Now I am leaving Earth for no reason!
Good design is the opposite of bad design. Good design starts with a clarity of purpose and follows through on it. It has clear goals, it has a consistent and logically congruent set of rules, it creates desirable expectations in most of its players, and it meets those expectations. Great design, I would argue, goes further. Great games have the confidence to play with expectations while still delivering on them. Great design routinely creates things that players didn't even know they wanted beforehand. It subverts and twists its established rules in delightfully unexpected ways, without feeling forced, unnatural, or abrupt. Where bad design breaks the rules because it doesn't understand what it's trying to do, great design breaks the rules for deliberate effect. I'll be getting into how troll levels can embody great design later, but the key takeaway here is that in order for troll levels to pervert good design, they first have to understand what good design is. And so should we. When we're talking about conventionally good game design, the Mario series is frequently cited as the gold standard. Back when most video games were still making gaga goo goo baby noises in terms of game design, Super Mario Bros. Stood out by delivering what amounted to paragraphs of cogent game design wisdom. That's why I'd like to go over World 1-1. Wait, don't leave. I'm not talking about that World 1 like thousands of people have done here on YouTube. I'm talking about World 1-1 from Super Mario Bros. 3, which I will argue is an even better level, if I may be so bold. I say this because SMB3's World 1-1 has the tougher assignment by virtue of being a true sequel. And yes, SMB3 is the true sequel of SMB1 as opposed to a glorified expansion pack or a reskin of Doki Doki Literature Club. So back in 1988, World 1-1 here had to do double duty. It had to be satisfying for people who had already played Super Mario Bros., but also onboard newcomers to the series. And that's what's so impressive about this level. It creates a pleasant experience no matter how familiar you are with Mario. I've gone ahead and recreated SMB3's opening level here in Super Mario Maker 2 as accurately as I could, for reasons you'll see later in this video. Let's start with the very first screen. Mario levels are essentially obstacle courses, and our very first obstacle here is this Goomba. This little guy's purpose is to force the player to jump, but he's placed at the far end of the screen such as to maximize the time the player has to respond. In this case, around 7 seconds. This is what I'm going to call easing in, giving players some time to acclimate to the game space and get a feel for things before amping up the difficulty or even challenging them at all. Next we come to this pipe, which hosts a fire piranha plant, a new addition to Super Mario Bros. 3. Again, we need to jump, but we're presented an option. We could just jump over this pipe and proceed along, but the piranha plant forces us to pause and consider our environment for a second. We see these first 2 question mark blocks, and if we hit them from the underside, we are rewarded with a coin each. Old hat to Mario veterans. The second set of question mark blocks are just out of reach from the ground, but this is driving us to another new feature of SMB3, the semi-solid platforms. Now we can hit this block here and we get the standard Mario power-up, the Super Mushroom. And from this second semi-solid, we can easily jump over the piranha plant and move on, with our new power-up allowing us to take a hit without dying. Rewarding curiosity and exploration is a hallmark of Mario, and that's because it's agreed upon good design. Yes, our goal is to go right until we reach the end, but if we take a moment to check out our options and go off the direct path, we'll get something that makes the rest of the level and maybe even future levels easier. Next we get some more semi-solids and our first Koopa.
Man, I spent hours of my life stomping Koopas. Stomping Koopas.
Koopas, as per Mario tradition, retreat into their shell when jumped on, and this creates our first major point of divergence between Mario veterans and newbies playing this level. The experienced player knows that by walking into the shell, Mario will kick it, and this very conspicuously placed block here makes a very tempting target. For the newbie, they may not grasp the kicking mechanic, or they may do it by accident, making this a coin flip regarding whether they hit this block at all. What comes out of this block is a progressive power-up, meaning that if you are already big, the Super Leaf now comes out. Now, if you haven't read the SMB3 manual at this point, what this power-up does is not immediately obvious. If you hit this block without finding the mushroom earlier, or if you took a hit since then, you get a mushroom instead. Next up, we have a set of 3 Goombas in a lengthy leveled section. At the end of this is another branching path, one featuring another common game design practice. Let's just call it breadcrumbing. We can proceed by jumping over the first pit of the level, but there's also this curious coin trail going up into the sky. If the player puts it together that they can fly with Raccoon Mario and follow these floating breadcrumbs, okay, this metaphor is getting a little strained here, they'll find a nice little bonus reminiscent of the Coin Heaven secrets in the first game. There's also an invitation to try flying again with another coin trail here. This one is a little more tricky, where the player will have to find a way to build P-meter with a much shorter runway. But if they succeed and soar to the right, they're likely to run out of flight power right here at this pipe. And veteran players know that pipes are often secrets in Mario games, so if the player pushes down here, they'll find themselves in a secret subworld for some more bonus coins. This illustrates something I like to call a contract. This is when game design establishes a pattern to the player that performing a certain action will result in a particular outcome. In this case, successfully taking flight from this initial runway allows the player to reach this mini coin heaven. Thus it follows that by doing it again here, the player will also find something similarly cool as a result, and they do. Both instances are take flight, get rewarded. The contract is fulfilled. Let's now look at the bottom route, where less experienced players will likely find themselves. We get some of the basic platforming design that made SMB1's World 1 famous. That's a lot of ones. But we also have an opportunity to learn about a new mechanic in SMB3 as well. There's also another power-up here in the middle of this route. This both helps the inexperienced player moving forward and might tempt others to backtrack and try the aerial route again. But continuing along this bottom path, we find a block that contains a P-switch, which conveniently is very easy to hit if you kick this Koopa to the left. The P-switch changes these blocks into coins. It's all a nice little bonus, but also gives the players who went down here some advanced knowledge for later levels. Continuing on, these two routes converge right here at the end of the level. In summary, SMB3's first level is an elegant creation that caters simultaneously to veterans and novices alike, delivering a satisfying experience where both come away with learning something new. It's a shining example of the Mario series' fluency in the language of game design. And this is precisely why Mario is the perfect breeding ground for the satirical whims of troll levels. Trolls rely on game design literacy in both their creators and their players to be effective.
I don't like this. All right, look, it looks like I'm gonna hit this, it's gonna hit the switch, and I'm gonna fall down the frickin' shaft. So it looks like only an idiot would just stand here and hit this. But I am here to tell you that I am that idiot. It's not even Oh, it's good. It's good. It's really good.
So, if you'll allow me, I'd like to provide my own analytical frame to examine exactly how trolls weaponize this literacy against the player. Welcome to the Gearbox of trolling. I'm using a gearbox as a metaphor for trolling for a few reasons. The primary reason being I came up with 6 categories of troll techniques, and what other framing device neatly accommodates 6 things? Okay, shut up. There are a couple other reasons why I'm going with the gearbox analogy. I'm not a complete hack of a video essayist. As we will get into, many troll design patterns are responding to or are in dialogue with previous troll designs.
Holy crap, that's scary. He makes a video of explaining exactly how all these contraptions work, and you've just used it against him. Now, where have I seen this before? I don't know, every single level? Ah, here we go. Jump. Well, this is something I've seen before. How many what's left? What's left to do on this course? I mean, that's left. That's the one. Yep.
So in order to explain them, we need to describe the lower gears, the older and usually simpler patterns, and how we shift up into more complex designs. There's some other nice metaphorical byproducts of this gearbox framing as well, like a conceptual neutral between gears, in that a gearbox usually operates by shifting up and down and never staying in one gear for too long. This is fitting as the greatest troll levels employ all gears of the troll gearbox, upshifting and downshifting to constantly keep their players off balance.
What is this section? What the heck is this section? Oh my god, what is this section? I love it so much. I love it so much. This section just chewed me up and spit me back out. What the hell was that sequence of events?
Now, I'm just a game dev and software engineer by training and not a mechanic, so if I get something wrong about how gearboxes work, go ahead and yell at me in the comments about it. Before we shift into our first gear, let's talk about what that conceptual neutral is.
What if I go over here, though? No!
So the first thing I would like to bring to your attention isn't even a gear in this massively contrived gearbox metaphor, because I don't consider it a proper troll technique. In spirit, it's kind of the background radiation of a troll level, a lingering malice toward the player that trolls are built upon. In practice, it was a frequent feature of the troll level's predecessor, the Hot Garbo level. Back in the SMB3 breakdown, I mentioned how it's common practice for games to ease in their new players. Put another way, it's considered a good idea to give your players an extended grace period at the start of your level or new section, which allows them to get acclimated. Remember how this Goomba took 7 seconds to reach the player before? Well, not anymore. This technique says lol nope to that. It's an ambush. Outright hostility for the player, quite frequently at the start of a level or section.
Here we see Dan in his natural habitat, standing around, getting smacked in the head by a fish.
Now, this is a pretty complicated setup for this. Usually it's far simpler. As we saw in the title card for this section, the Mario Maker Classic is the off-screen thwomp, an absolute staple of many a garbage level. As such, the ambush is considered a cheap shot. Or cheap shot, am I right? Therefore, the ambush is best used sparingly. And I think it's pretty clear why, for the same reason I wouldn't label it a proper troll technique. Coming back to Defender's definition, a troll relies on expectations. And in this case, what expectations are being subverted here? One could argue that this transgresses the game design decorum of not being a complete jerk to your player. And sure, I will give it that. But as we will see with the higher gears, trolls become something special when they establish an expectation in the player, then use that to pull the rug out from under them. The ambush is just far too simple and basic in comparison, oftentimes feeling unfair because it's not really dependent on what the player does. But it would be wrong to say that ambushes have no value or place in troll levels. As we can see here, tactical use of an ambush has high comedic value when sprung on an unsuspecting player.
Now,
I see something down there. Ah! Ah! Dang it! Dang it! Dang it!
Honestly, I'm
telling you now, I go up and something's gonna fall, like some sort of launcher or something. Or even better, a thwomp, a funny thwomp.
There are a lot of platforms. Ah! Dang it!
This. That fish took my shell.
That felt very. Oh.
Wait, I just go through it, you idiot, you imbecile. You just go through it. Hi. Hi. Hello, son.
Checkpoint, please? That is a checkpoint. I mean, I guess we do that. Ah! God, that scared the heck out of me.
Oh my god, that's brilliant.
It doesn't. Okay, I don't think I do anything with the mush. Oh, there's a fire ball in my head.
Let's not forget this time. I almost got fished for real. Dang. I got fished for real! No!
This is gonna be, oh, that's gonna be effed. You were looking at the launcher again! One more time.
This looks like it's going to drop the fish. All right, Cosmic Brain prediction activate. I know. All right, I got this. I don't even look. This is how you play troll levels, everybody. Oh no! I was so close. Okay, so I get it. It's one of these. Yeah, there it is. Go up here. Pretend to go up there. Actually, come! You got it? You got another one? What is that? Get this out of here!
In my opinion, the falling enemy snipe or the aforementioned off-screen thwomp are especially delicious when served up after a course of more cerebral trolls. The ambush is like a super spicy hot sauce. A little dose here and there can liven up any troll level, but dumping it all over the place will assuredly create a painful ordeal. Use judiciously. Our first shift up into proper trolling is the most basic of trolls, the trap. Coming back to SMB3 World 1.1, remember when I said this? Rewarding curiosity and exploration is a hallmark of Mario, and that's because it's agreed upon good design. The most straightforward trap is to flip this notion. Punish the player for exploration and curiosity. In other words, take something that is usually helpful, or at least innocuous, and make it hazardous. In Mario Maker troll levels, there are two tropes, some might call them cliches, along these lines. The first is exactly what you saw in the title card for this section, the fish in the box, which inverts the usual reward found in question blocks.
The 2 arrows want me to go here and hit that. You fish.
I think it's all a distraction, and I'm just gonna go up there and get the checkpoint.
Wonder what would have happened if I... Wait, no!
Oh, good.
I'm just gonna smash this POW from above. But no!
No, I'm such a dick! I'm such a dick!
No, you can't. You can't keep doing this to me.
The second is an import from the infamous Kaizo Mario World ROM hack series and the genre levels that emerged from it. It's an invisible block placed in a precarious position, usually at the end of a ledge overhanging a pit, which will block the player's jump arc and send them careening to their demise. I present to you the legendary Kaizo block.
Since when do you exist?
I also kind of feel like the long jump is going to be what gets me murdered. Let's see.
Because it said in my head that those...
I guess we're hitting this one. Ding dong.
You're... I'm looking down at the ground because I'm not gonna let this thing... Yeah, you're dumb, not...
I do just... No. No! Why?
Here. Okay. Now, I think if I were to get the star, there's no way to jump all the way up. So getting the star can't possibly be the right move. I think I break that one, and then I just do a duck jump.
Kaizo blocks are always funny.
Now, these two are some of the simplest first gear trolls, and as I alluded to, they're frequently viewed as low effort and overused.
Resist the temptation! Resist! You don't need these blocks! You don't need these! Stop! Back away from the Kaizo block button in the editor, alright? On the one hand, good level design. On the other hand, Kaizo block go ding.
They're not much better than an ambush, so it's understandable if you're a bit confused about what differentiates them. The way I'm defining it is like this. An ambush is just unprompted hostility. A trap is a direct response to player action. Ergo, the trap has some expectations to play off of. And this is why the trap is a troll, albeit the lowest form of trolls, while ambushes are not.
So for a trap to work, this is... I forget who said this first. Maybe one of you can correct me, but that at the end of the day, the player has to kind of have a feeling that it was on them. you know, that it
That was me saying that.
that was you. Great. A quote from the famous Marble King.
The fish in a box and the Kaizo block are the most rudimentary of traps, so they're best used like ambushes, sparingly, ideally tactically. But there are more sophisticated traps available, and this is where the ingenuity of troll levels starts to pick up. Let us consider another classic troll technique, the counterproductive power-up. These types of traps are definitely more fair game because the subversion of expectations is much more apparent here. In the Mario series, power-ups are almost always preferable. There are some rare occasions where it may be easier to not have them, but overwhelmingly the case is that a power-up expands the player's options instead of limiting them. Again, this is just good game design. The player always wants power-ups because it gives them more abilities and a greater margin for error. So a good game designer should design content that accommodates all of the power-up states a player might be in. Instead, troll levels frequently make passages that are impassable if you have the super mushroom, or where collecting a fire flower or other power-up will break a mechanism needed to advance, so on and so on. It's here that we start to see what makes troll levels so special. It's more than just playing upon the game design literacy of the player, it's undermining common precepts of game design itself. Here's a few more traps for the road.
Sleeping, definitely sleeping. I'm bad.
Real quick. Oh my god.
There is absolutely no way. There is no way, dude.
I need the coin. No. How is that enough? How is that enough? How is that enough to
Saying that we don't just stay in the boot until it dumps us in the lava. I'm pretty sure that what I want to do. Oh. Your hop is slower than the platform, so even though you're hopping in the same direction as the platform, for some reason it doesn't keep your momentum, and you just hop and the platform goes away.
That's right, I saw that coming from a freaking mile away. Oh, pow.
Don't think I want to go above that level. This says go down. GG? You can't get out of it! No, you can't get out of it! No! No, I want the goal. Give me the goal.
Oh no. Wow. It built an entire tower. It buttoned and look at that's amazing. Immediate gold. Immediate gold.
Oh my god, I get it. Okay, I have to get it to land on... What? Why does it work like that? So I wait till it goes past the key. Oh my god. No!
Oh, I'm in a situation here.
No! No! I needed the flame! I needed the flame! I needed his butt. His butt flame. There. Oh wow, it disappeared. I didn't. Wow, that's cool.
Checkpoint 1, please look ahead. I'm looking at mushroom. I didn't look ahead. It said look ahead. I can't fit. Going for content. Oh my god. Screw you. Screw you. Wait, so now I almost went in the door without getting the jackpot. My goodness, look at all these names. Look at all, hey, Steve-O. What? No! Not like this!
But we're only getting started here. Let us shift up to second gear. So the ambush is just outright hostility to the player, and the trap transforms ordinarily beneficial or neutral actions into deadly ones. Using both of these, the player should be on their toes and ready to react, while also second-guessing every move they make. What if we now decide to take all of the usual signposts and breadcrumbs, the guidance the level provides for the player, and turn it against them? Well, we'd get our next gear of trolls. Deceit. As we saw in our recreation of Super Mario Bros. 3 World 1-1, the series has established several of these signposts. The most obvious of these is the coin trail, which guides the player either toward the goal or to a bonus area. And so, of course, the classic deceit featured in many a troll level is the coin trail that lies to the player, leading them to their doom instead.
We are following the coins. My problem was that I didn't follow the coins.
This is the goal. I missed. Okay, so I need to. I get it. The red coin is only there because it doesn't drop with the pass.
And over the years, Mario Maker creators have developed their own language of indicators. Take for instance this set of tracks. What this indicates is that the player should throw this shell to the right, or upward in this case.
Is the troll here just the up throw indicator? Like, is this really just for the people who forget that there's no up throw and like try to like get them to up throw it into the piece? Oh god!
And you guessed it, troll levels deliberately misuse these indicators, presenting a solution to the player that is really a trap. Naturally, this has made experienced troll level players wary of these indicators, with the assumption that they're almost always lying.
Always follow instructions. Except for these right here that tell you to go to the left to a death pit.
So this means successful deceit usually requires a little more finesse on the part of the level creator. One technique is to use patterns that are very easy for the player to misread in the heat of the moment, like something that looks like a solid platform but isn't.
I'm gonna die again. My brain saw it as soon as it was too late.
But most of the time, if you want to deceive a troll level player, you're going to need some layers.
All right, so you see, because you're tricking yourself. The level isn't telling you to do these things. You just see it and you fall for it yourself. But every time you fall for it in that way, like there's an invisible breadcrumb trail leading you. Previous experiences telling you, oh, do this then, do that. And then you go in there, and then the creator does a good job being like, hey, you're supposed to go this way, dummy.
I'd like to draw your attention to a masterclass in deceit. This particular screen by level creator Ultra Noob. First, we have this very conspicuous fake platform, itself an instance of deceit. By making this such an obvious lie, it drives players away, so it's fitting that the actual solution is down this pit.
That's not a real platform. That is not a real platform. I ain't falling for this. I ain't falling for this anymore. That is not a real platform. You can't fool me.
Instead, players will head over to the right, where there is some more deceit in store. If the player tries to grab this key with Yoshi's tongue while standing right next to it, they get caught in a trap instead. If they duck, they can properly collect the key, which will lead them to this locked door, which will show them this pipe in the pit they deliberately avoided. They're led to believe that the way forward in this level is to hold right as they go down this pit.
Are you kidding me? The one time I avoid the freaking fake platform. The one time I finally avoid it. That's the time you're supposed to go there, of course.
But this is also deceit. They actually need to go on the left side of the pit to proceed. Before we move on here, let's take a look at some more great examples of deceit.
That's not a wall.
No, no! Why did it do that? Why is that regular ground? Oh my god! I didn't stop reacting to it like it was. Oh my god!
Oh my spike maze. All right, YOLO. You just gotta YOLO the spike maze. There's no waiting. Hey, I got a key. There's already a P-switch active. There's already a P-switch active! So the P-switch... A P-switch is blocked. The sound of a P-switch activating is blocked. Yeah!
Checkpoint. H? What is...
Not sure if fun is the right word.
What? What the? I thought it was the end of my screen. I thought it was the end of the screen.
I can't believe. I can't believe this right now. This right here.
The Muncher. The Muncher is here. It doesn't do anything. It's just there to get you to hold... to keep holding left because you're afraid of it. Checkpoint. Look at the right edge of the screen. Oh! Oh, that's clever. So that it's visually balanced. The right edge of the screen also has a missing column. That's good.
I'm gonna hit this and see what happens. What? Oh, you little... How did those... Oh my god, those are on a track, aren't they? That's actually genius. What?
Something. Probably this is gonna destroy these launchers. So probably what I want to do is... Oh! Yes, because then I can... What are you? Nothing. Get up there. Okay.
I don't understand. Oh my god! Oh my god, is that just perfectly timed? Holy... Is that on-off switch just perfectly timed? That is amazing! That is unbelievable!
Inside the hint, it showed a copy of the room that you were currently in, with one change. There was a muncher in front of the exit door. And people were like, hang on, I recognize that space, there's a hint, what's it telling me to do? And they waited there for 5 or 10 seconds, and then a muncher appeared on the door as prophesized. So the hint was purely, it was purely aesthetic, and it showed what was going to happen just to make people wait, and then yeah, it's self-explanatory.
It should be news.
Hey, Anderson?
Why is that so good?
What? You came at a completely different time this time. No, 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 no!
Oh god. What is this magic?
No! Oh, this is delightful.
There we go.
I didn't even see a checkpoint. Wait. Oh no, I hate this. Here comes bull. Wait, that swap was perfect. Slow down the recording. Can you even see it?
Fine, bang.
This seems like a mistake to ground pound this. So let's do it.
The other one. Wait, where am I?
What? No, 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 no.
Left, 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 left.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That freaking got me. That freaking got me so bad.
Holy sh! Hey, it's 1-1!
Wait, 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 wait. Hey, it's 1-1.
Okay, that had so many layers. That had so many layers. I wasn't that dry bones that they squished an enemy dry bones and flung it up where I thought I was to make me think I was there. And then when I tried to move, I went in a pipe. That was incredible. That was the most cosmic brain troll of all time.
That's unbelievable.
So this isn't me. That's not even me. Holy sh**, that's so good.
It's absolutely evil, but it's so good. That's so funny. I just can't believe how good that is.
Now that we've discussed a couple troll techniques, let's get into how level creators can shift gears for even greater troll effect. One of the most comedic troll patterns, in my opinion, is the screen transition panic fakeout, which involves deceit, a trap, and a threatened ambush. When the player goes through a door or pipe in Mario Maker, they have a little more than a second to see what's coming before they resume controlling Mario. So first, we're shown what looks like an obvious ambush. It looks like Mario is going to fall in a pit or on a spike or whatever. The key thing here is to signal to the player that they need to act immediately. But this is deceit, of course. If the player reflexively reacts by, say, holding a particular direction, they now find themselves in a trap, usually either going back in the door or pipe they just came from to take an ambush to the face. But there's a lot of other outcomes possible with this pattern.
What does it all mean? Wow, that was the fastest back in pipe I've ever seen.
All right, cool. I dodged the fish. No, no, the coins, they tricked me. You bastard.
Oh, I've got to be really careful here. I've got to be really careful. It's going to put me back into that pipe. No!
Here I am again on my own. Down the only road I ever known.
I hope you're seeing just how brilliant troll level design can be, even with just a couple simple techniques. But the real mind-bending fun is just ahead. As I mentioned, constantly using deceit is hard to maintain for a troll creator. If everything is a lie, the troll player will never drop their guard.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
What we need to do is to build trust in the player, which is very tricky in this case because they know they're playing a troll level. Fortunately, we have some well-established game design practices to lean upon. As I quickly mentioned in the examination of SMB3, good game design creates contracts with its players. This is when a game or level strongly correlates a specific set of player actions with a specific outcome. For example, the game establishes a new obstacle type, shows it in isolation to the player, who then learns a solution to it. Then when the player recognizes that obstacle in a different context, they can draw on their training. Good game design is rigorous with this player conditioning, always building upon and sometimes adding occasional caveats to contracts, but never violating them. Again, the Mario series is fantastic at this. I'm also in the camp that believes good game design should do this as discreetly as possible, with the ideal being to tutor the player without them realizing that they're in a tutorial. And in some cases, this training starts operating on the level of reflex and muscle memory. The player will react instinctively without having to consciously think about what they're doing. So troll design, naturally, aims to turn this practice on its head. That is, to miscondition the player, to train them to do what will eventually become the wrong thing.
Why do I feel like that's not gonna work?
This is our third gear of troll techniques, the breach of contract.
Why? Why that? Why? How is it different?
Defender outlines this technique in section 8i of the Troll Guide. He describes the simplest approach to the breach of contract, which leverages a favorite of video games, the rule of 3. You know, 1 time is an accident, 2 times is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern. Take 3 identical obstacles. In standard game design, the first obstacle is where the player learns to overcome it, the second reinforces that learning, the third should be where the player is becoming acclimated and comfortable dealing with this obstacle type. For how to trollify this arrangement, I'm going to use an example from the man himself. Here we have a set of 3 seemingly identical obstacles. This particular level does what is probably most obvious. It plays the first and second obstacles straight and puts a trolley twist on the third. But as Defender points out in the guide, the breach of contract can be achieved here using either the first, second, or third beat. Trolling the first obstacle creates a wrong expectation immediately that the player must unlearn. Trolling the second now disrupts the learning process, leaving the player completely weary of the third obstacle. A more important thing to note about the breach of contract is that it categorically differs from our previous gears. Ambushes, traps, and deceit are all context independent. This means they can be all expressed in terms of concrete setups and contraptions. In contrast, the breach of contract forces us to zoom out and look at the greater context of the level and how it influences the psyche of the player.
Wait, are we dodging? Hold on, wait, that might have been a dodge. I don't know what the POW block was for, but that might have been a dodge. So all we have to, nope, it's not a dodge, we need the POW. Dang it! Yeah, I think that's the play there. Okay.
All right. What? 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 Why? What?
Love it. I bet I don't want this, and I can go there, and there we go. Oh. Ding dong biatch. The hell is that? Oh, here. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, it's upside down. It's a bit hard. It's a bit hard. Oh, this is really annoying.
With this in mind, let's take a look at another breach of contract pattern that's emerged in Super Mario Maker 2. As SMM2 introduced the on and off blocks and switches, troll creators have used them to leverage checkpoints in a fun way. So a player is going through a level, eventually navigating their way through a few trolls and arriving at the checkpoint. They advance on further until they eventually hit another troll. Okay, no problem. We're back at the checkpoint. You've got an idea of what's ahead and how to deal with it. So the player moves forward with a sense of confidence, but surprise, it's different now. What happened here is that the troll creator ensured that the player reached the checkpoint with the switch state set to off. This is because the switch state resets to on when the player restarts at the checkpoint. And this trick works almost every time, even on players who've got by this many times before. This demonstrates the contextual nature of the breach of contract. In isolation, the troll that occurs when the switch state is set to on is usually pretty unremarkable in comparison to other trolls, but it's considerably more effective now setting the player up in their previous attempt.
Let's go. CP2. What's this? Oh. I think I can't hold jump here. I can't hold jump. That was good. That was really good. I don't get the point of this one though. Oh! Got the point of that one. All right, that's all I have. That's all I got. That's all I got. Come on, dude. What even is this? Oh, it just wanted me to hold. What? I don't even understand what's happening. I just need to hold up. Federico! The old CP1 is different the second time. True. Second time through. Carl, I need you to think about this really hard. Oh my god. Okay, now I just don't do anything, right? God.
Okay, cool. There was a shell preventer thing. You are a jerk. Level, you are a punk. Level creators, you're the worst. No, I'm just I was thinking not gonna be there this time. That's how.
I'm out. Bye. No! Taking my chances with Pokey Buddy. All right, I guess it's gonna change this time. I'm going this way this time. Yes! Smart. No! What? No, what? No! What? You did not predict that. You did not predict that I would predict that it was a change after CP Troll. Oh, you did not just do that. Wow, okay, this is a really smart level.
Sometimes a lack of guts is the way to go. This seems real bad.
I'm going on a magical journey. In the door. Yeah, what is the Mario Plumbing phone number on the ad?
I don't like this. I don't like it. I don't like it. No, no!
Wait, I think I'm supposed to not...
What happened?
Wait a second. It was...
Wait, where's the door? Is that the door? What happens if it's what happens if that's a different door? Is that a different door? What happens if this is now different? I knew it was gonna be different!
Did I go in a pipe instead? Wait. Oh my gosh, in a pea balloon, you can't tell what's up and what's down. A pea balloon controls the exact same way. Is the pea backwards? It's a Q balloon. Wait, it is. It is. Yeah, that's a 9 balloon Toadette. It's a Q balloon. Holy. That was incredible.
The breach of contract demonstrates how trolls can operate on a higher level conceptually than just specific contraptions. And this is why I really like the gearbox metaphor here. As we will see, shifting upwards is moving us to more and more abstract trolling. So deceit is usually confined to one screen. It's usually a simple lie told through the form of a faulty indicator or a bit of visual trickery. The breach of contract operates on the context established within the level, commonly focused on a recurring element of said level. But what if we zoom out even further? What if the entire level was a lie?
This level could have upped its troll game so much more. What? Oh my god, are you kidding me? Oh my god, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh my god! Oh my god! No way, the whole level was a troll.
What you just saw was Carl Sagan 42 completing 7 trolley pieces by Drac, a Super Mario Maker 1 creation that is widely considered to be an all-time classic troll level. It is also a perfect example of our 4th troll gear, the farce. 7 trolley pieces is a play on the red coin level. Since some of you watching this video may not be well versed in Super Mario Maker conventions, let me quickly outline what a red coin level is. For those of you who know, I'll try to be fast here. Firstly, what are all the red coins all about? The player will be rewarded with a key, which unlocks these doors, when they collect all of the red coins in a level. Red coins thus form the backbone of many cool design patterns, things like bonus rooms or true endings for players who explore or who perform tricky maneuvers or other sort of extra credit kind of stuff. But for the very imaginatively termed red coin level, the red coin acts as a progress indicator for parts of a level that can be done in arbitrary order. How the red coin level works is as such. There is a central hub with pipes and doors that lead to an assortment of sections. Each section has a red coin in it, and the end of each section returns the player back to the hub, or more frequently, a room right before the hub. Here we have 2 checkpoints set up, usually one in the return room and one in the hub room. The reason for this is that a player can't resave their progress at the active checkpoint. Having the 2 CPs in close proximity therefore allows the player to save their progress, that is, the state of the red coins they've collected after each section. Usually in the hub room is a locked door, which is the player's ultimate objective. Most red coin levels have this door go straight to the end goal. It's become good practice to put a safety coin right here.
I do want the safety coin. I do want the safety coin. I want it so bad. I feel like I'm safer with it.
The reason for this is that if the player collects all of the red coins and gets the key, their red coin progress is completely reset should they fail to complete the level, aka when they die. This means the player would have to replay all of the sections in the level, so a safety coin prevents this unfortunate circumstance from happening. If this sounds like a scenario ripe for trolling, well, let's just say I think you're getting it. Let's come back to 7 trolley pieces. Here's our hub, here's the locked door, here's the 7 sections that all contain a red coin. The gag here is that this track is actually concealing the flagpole, the end goal of the Super Mario 1 format. You probably can see the troll now. The 7 red coin sections are completely unnecessary. The player can just beat the level by proceeding straight towards the locked door without the key. But because the red coin level format is so widely understood among SMM players, they almost invariably completed the 7 irrelevant red coin sections before getting surprised by the flagpole. Welcome to the farce, where the trolling exists on the scale of the entire level.
No! Oh my god, I've never seen that before! I've never seen it before where you just blatantly have the axe just shining at you at CP2. Oh my god, that's unreal!
This is why I presented the gears in this manner. From Deceit to Breach of Contract to now Farce, we see trolls upping their game by operating on higher levels of abstraction.
Wait! Is this doing what I think it's doing? Do I have to do all of these rooms in reverse now? Is that...
I'd like to bring to your attention two troll design patterns that are, in my opinion, the distillation of the farcical genius of troll levels. The first is a pattern known as Twice Twice. Twice twicing the player involves having them go through a section or sometimes an entire level once, throwing a distinct set of troll behaviors at them as they progress. Then the Twice Twice begins proper, which can be achieved in a number of ways. The most straightforward way is to duplicate a section so that it looks identical to the first, but altering the troll behaviors.
Oh good, this again. I'm not... Well, I was right that it's not the same room.
More advanced Twice Twices involve some form of altered game state, an on-off switch, a progressive power-up trick, or to really get into the weeds, by leveraging Super Mario Maker's Entity Limit B.
I don't like the number of piranhas that are there. That to me says weird shenanigans.
I want to take a moment to discuss Entity Limit B, or ELB, or more colloquially known as the Sprite Limit, because it shows just how hardcore troll creators can get. Mario Maker has a limit to the number of active entities that can be spawned at once. These can be items, enemies, certain types of platforms, and so on. If the game is at the ELB, then no new entities can be spawned. Let's say the player has to collect a red coin in order to advance through a troll level. It doesn't necessarily do anything, but it's unavoidable on the path forward. Now we're going to save that red coin state when the player hits a checkpoint. If the player returns to where they collected that red coin, it doesn't spawn anymore with this state saved. And if this was an area that was at the entity limit before, now something else can spawn instead.
Hey, is there actually a hidden block here? Okay, the hidden blocks can't change. Wait, how? Oh, sprite limit magic. Yep, gotcha.
From this, a massive range of different behaviors can take place. This is a perfect example of the links that troll creators will go to in order to fool troll players. Keep this in mind. So what's the purpose of a Twice Twice? The Twice Twice is in many ways a breach of contract on steroids, using the player's prior experience of the level against them. The player thinks they're in a familiar section, thus they will plow forward with an oblivious confidence. But this confidence quickly turns to hesitation once they realize they've been caught in the dreaded Twice Twice.
Crap. Oh, crap.
Some trolls will look identical but behave radically different this time. Some will look radically different but behave identically as before. Some are just the exact same trolls from last time.
The same troll happens. I probably should have known that.
The player is constantly guessing. Will this contraption act the same, or will it be different? They're completely at the mercy of the troll creator here.
Is it still gonna be... Nah, I don't know if I trust it. I don't know if I trust it. I don't know. Damn it!
This is bordering on psychological warfare. If deceit is just a simple lie, and if the breach of contract is like fraud, the way a Twice Twice can disorient and cause the player to question their reality is worthy of a higher category. Hence, I will argue that a Twice Twice is a proper farce.
You know what? I feel like, you know what? I'm gonna keep going right. I need to see what's over here. Let me guess, it's just gonna die right, yeah. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. What? I have to kick it this way. Kick it this way and then jump it. Okay. Don't laugh at me. I was in high school and I wanted a good mark in my test. It's not my fault that the teacher gave us the means of cheating. He let us take a book into the... What the... What just happened? I haven't hit CP2 yet though. But I haven't hit CP2 yet. But I haven't hit it. Have I hit CP... Where the f am I? Am I in CP2 or CP1? Is this CP2? This is what I think happened. I think at some point I've hit CP2. I have no idea where that point is. Hey, Queen! I have no clue where that point is. Below the screen, you were killed by a block or something. CP2 is a pit where you can't go in the door. The sound effect hides the noise. Wow.
Is this bad or good? Bad. Let me guess, each section is now completely different. And I have to do them again. And it's gonna be different this time. And every section is a twice. Every section is a twice! Okay. Okay, so apparently a second one comes out now. Can I release this? Okay, that mushroom is at a different angle this time, which very much makes me think that you want me to think that it's gonna come toward me this time, which is why I'm still going over the... Let's see. That's evil. So, pick this up and immediately jump out! That was not exactly how I expected it to go, but it worked, so I'll take it. Alright. There's no way this setup can be different. Right? Like, that skull coaster has to be behind there. Like, that has to... I see. That's brilliant! Zoom incoming! So, in the original, like the first time through, there must have been a fireball that melts those, and there must have been a bomb that broke all of these, so that hint wasn't there. And then this time...
Our other farce pattern is the knowledge checkpoint. This one really plays up the level is a lie concept when done well. Just to be clear, the knowledge checkpoint is not an actual checkpoint. Instead, it's an obscure piece of information that reveals how a level is actually completed. The way the knowledge checkpoint works is usually like this. The player is presented with a level that looks like it can be beaten in a conventional manner. The player will make their way through this level and reach what seems like the end, but no. They're presented with a hint instead. You see, everything they just did was wrong, with the hint showing them the proper way to defeat the level.
What? Wait, the entire level was no Link?
Wait just a second. It comes to me. Yeah. Are you freaking... Okay, that is genius. That is genius. I had no idea the entire time, even when I got the end before, because it said, oh, it's because it says take it without getting hit. I thought it was, oh my God. I thought it was do it without losing your Link costume, but that doesn't mean the same thing. Crap, that was amazing. That was fantastic. That was so good. That was such a meta troll. That was such a good meta troll.
A common knowledge checkpoint pattern is to reveal that the level was actually an auto level the entire time. For those not in the know, an auto level is the Mario Maker equivalent of a Rube Goldberg machine. If the player holds a particular set of inputs, a bevy of finely tuned contraptions will ferry them to the goal. As a result, auto levels tend to have a certain look of contrivance about them. So the best of these trolls do a wonderful job concealing all of the auto level mechanisms before tipping their hand with the knowledge checkpoint reveal. Now is the time for the farce montage.
Oh, you can't single tile with the water. You can't die. Oh my God. I just want to die. Coins. Real? But how? But how will I get this one? Oh my God. I'm guessing that's still a fish. That's beautiful. Can I get this one now? I started over before I saw that before. Oh my God.
Still okay, still okay, still okay. I think we're dead. Get that. Wait, what? No, no red coin. No red Oh my God, I can't believe we have never seen that before. I can't believe we've never seen that before. Oh, that means there's... What? This is brilliant because if you do the sections left to right or you do them right to left, you're still gonna do this section before getting the other ones, and that trick is still gonna work. Oh my goodness.
What? All right. Wait. I see what's happening here. That's so simple. Why hasn't anyone done anything like that before?
Look at that. Oh. Oh, that's why there are all the stars and the powers everywhere. That's why there are all the stars and the powers. I was wondering what that aesthetic was. I was like, man, that's something. That's design. And that's why the music was covered as well. Does the light source change depending on where you enter from? Is that why that was like that? Coming through the door, it changed the way that the light source... Oh, the switch state changes the light. You're correct. Switch state changes the light. Turns it on and off, right? Damn, I didn't for a second think that that was a dark level. That was really well hidden. Oh, I kind of want to see it again. Okay, hold on. Hold on, we'll blast through this. Okay, so hold on a minute. So, the powers are keeping everything illuminated except for that corner, right? And then when I come over here, it's just, wow. That's it there.
So troll design has permeated all the way up to the abstract concept of a level itself. How can it go any higher? Hold on tight. If by unfortunate happenstance any one of the previous troll techniques were to crop up unintentionally in a non-troll game, I think we as players can and do forgive that, as long as it's not a regular occurrence. Bugs and design oversights happen. And contrary to what hyperbolic reviews may have you believe, no game is perfect. Anyone who plays games regularly has favorites that feature some janky behavior or other rough around the edges content. Even Super Metroid, which for decades was called the unbreakable game by its speedrunning community, eventually had rather extreme memory corruption glitches discovered. But there are certain faults that are not so easily forgiven. Transgressions or errors that would spell abject doom for a game. This is the realm of game design taboo, the true sins of game development.
Forgive me, troll priest, for I have sinned.
And yes, I mean mortal sins, not some deliberately obtuse nitpicking from a dude who doesn't know what a Deus Ex Machina is. The troll levels I've discussed here aim to be amusing, at the very least. And even with the affordance a player will give a troll level, there are still some of these game design sins that are just so unfun that they're out of bounds even for troll creators. Defender expressly bans one particular situation in the troll guide, which we will get to in a moment. But the troll meta is all about pushing the boundaries and doing the unexpected.
Did someone say meta?
No, not you. Go sell your VR chat knockoff somewhere else, Mark. The troll meta is this ever-fluid set of expectations around troll design that exists in the dialogue between creators and players, where both are looking to one-up the other.
Because that could be a reverse troll. It's not that I was dumb. It's that I was just too far ahead of the troll meta. I was being too smart for once, which led me to be even dumber than I usually am.
And you best believe that troll makers are constantly looking to find that one circumstance where violating a game design taboo is okay. And this is how we arrive at our fifth and highest gear of trolling. Blasphemy. Recall how I said
90
minutes ago that Super Mario Maker had some quirks that made it especially predisposed to trolling? I think in order to understand just how juicy and sweet this upcoming blasphemy is, I should make sure everyone's up to speed here first. There's a few peculiar behaviors with Mario Maker checkpoints. Each level can have up to 2 checkpoints in it, and if you recall from the quick summary of red coin levels, only one of these CPs can be active at a time. So it's possible to swap back and forth between which CP is currently active, which red coin levels use to save player progress. Let's think about this in the context of a more conventional linear level. With the 2 CPs, it makes sense to break down the level into thirds. There's the section from the start of the level to CP1, the section between CP1 and CP2, then finally the last section from CP2 to the end goal. Put this together with the fact that once a player tags a CP, their previous CP gets reset and thus can be tagged again. You picking up what I'm putting down here? Yes, you can force the player to lose progress, a practice that the troll community calls CP1ing. The player has reached CP2, but through troll chicanery finds themselves forced to touch CP1 again, usually followed by a swift death afterward. Now they have to do the middle third of the level all over again.
Well played. Well played. Oh, that would be good for the old classic CP1 compilation.
No.
Gosh, I think the clown car is just gonna kill me and I'll fall through it. So I'm gonna just go to the right. I think it would. I think the clown car. I think I just predicted another one. Yeah. Counts. It counts. Because I just kind of predicted that one too. All right, easy. Federico's lost his touch. Let's go. See, in that case, it doesn't really count as me predicting a troll anyway, because what Federico was really doing was training me. What he was really doing was training me. Is this CP1, dude? Is it literally CP2 goes right back to CP1? Unbelievable.
An important detail about Mario Maker is that there is no restart from checkpoint option for the player, only the ability to return to the start of the level. This is the key to CP1ing. If the player could just pause and reset back to CP2 right as they're about to be shoved into CP1 again, there would be no troll possible here. And indeed, this quirk regarding checkpoints and restarting is vital to many a blasphemy in Super Mario Maker. And since forcibly resetting the player's progress is no doubt game design anathema, it shouldn't be surprising that troll creators have developed another technique to achieve it. Coming back to the red coin level, remember that the player's red coin state completely resets when they collect all the red coins. Dying before the end of the level here is what's known as a key death, where the player will now have to recollect all the red coins again. So, naturally, troll levels have, from time to time, put lethal trolls right before the end goal for just this purpose. This would be exceptionally cruel for any video game context outside of troll levels. But don't you worry, we're only getting started here. This brings us to the act of blasphemy so heinous that Defender explicitly calls for its prohibition.
What do you mean, saw? Is this another saw? It's another saw fly! What do you mean, saw? Saw? Oh, soft lock. Right. Yes.
Soft locks aren't unique to Mario Maker. They occur when the game software enters a state where it's still up and running. That is, it's not crashed, but the player is in a state where they are unable to progress or escape without force quitting the software or resetting the console. Mario games fortunately have a release valve for soft locks, a timer. When the timer hits 0, Mario dies and is sent back to the most recent checkpoint. In Mario Maker, since the player always has the ability to exit or restart a level from the beginning, the only time a soft lock can meaningfully occur is after the player has hit a checkpoint. Mario Maker has a max timer of 500 seconds, so the worst soft lock would force the player to wait for over 8 minutes to preserve their progress.
So, given that I was playing a lot of board games yesterday, we're timing out. We're timing out. Don't come into this stream if you think that a soft lock means that I Karen. No, if you don't like it, you can click on to a whole nother stream. This is what we do here. This is what we do. We waste time. I waste your time, and this wastes mine. I just project the wastage all onto all of you. That's what we do. Okay? Hey, see, that went by real quick. Nice and quick. Oh my god. I don't know if I want to sit here for another 8 minutes.
Even with a healthy affordance for troll shenanigans, this is not very fun to say the least. I'd go further and say it's outright dickish. Defender agrees with that assessment, hence why he advocates banning all softlocks in the troll guide. But as I'm sure you've noticed by now, troll levels have a problem with authority. They're all about pushing the boundaries, testing the limits of good taste. Defender's guidance on softlocks is seen as a sensible rule of thumb, but by no means indisputable or immune to challenge. Thus, the mercurial troll meta continues to search for instances where a softlock feels like fair game. The community has settled on this. Soft locks are fine before the first checkpoint, as the player can just hit restart level anyhow. But thinking on it a bit, they also concluded that a soft lock is acceptable right after CP1 for the same reason. Since going back to the start and getting the checkpoint again is almost always going to be faster, the player will reset, but this time with amplified disappointment.
Don't. Was that good? Ha! It was! Get wrecked! Get wrecked! Wait! No! No! I just realized it's a real snow! No! Wait! No! No! I was like, wait! It doesn't matter because I haven't got the checkpoint! I did! It's actually a solid one! Oh my god! It's actually real! Brought to you by Mr. CP0 and Steve-O!
Still, it's a rare occurrence that a softlock works as the sort of prank that troll makers are aiming for. But as we've seen several times now, the troll community is relentlessly creative, and they found another way to make a softlock, in quotes this time, fun. What you are seeing now are examples of the anti-softlock. Remember how I said that troll levels don't rely on difficulty to be evil? Well, as you can see, this is the primary exception to that. The troll maker puts the player in a softlock-esque situation. It's not a true softlock because the creator provides a way for the player to die, thus avoiding having to sit and wait for the timer to run out. But you know there has to be a catch here. In this case, the way to die and return to the checkpoint early is usually some extremely difficult platforming or just straight up awful jank nonsense. The anti-softlock is an excuse for troll creators to be as mean as they like, and it often shows. Just look at this horrendousness.
This is the best anti I've ever played! This is beautiful! Look at this! Yes! Yes! Come here, mother. No, I was in you! Come back! Oh my god. Oh, there's one block right there. I see it. I see it. I see it. Oh, come on. Come on! Come on. I have to shoot it with the fireball. Oh, come on. That was it. Come on!
Oh. I am forever tilted. I am so tilted by that. I can't believe that. It was so good. And then it was not. I can't believe that. I can't believe that happened. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I had it. I had it.
Uh-oh. No! I need to put it under the pipe to go back in? Wait. What? No! I pressed down! It's up. It's up because it's upside down and my brain is too dumb to comprehend.
This part is the worst anti I've ever experienced in my life. The worst anti I've ever experienced. I would say this is worse than getting over it, because at least getting over it I could progress.
Wait, is this an actual forest frogger? Holy crap, how does this setup work? Yeah, if I get hit. Oh my god, that's amazing. All right, I want to go after the boo because the... Wait, I think I want to go after the boo. Oh my god, that was hard. Okay. Then I want to go the top way here for sure. Let's go. That was a sick... Oh, wow. That was actually like a sick Frogger minigame. I'm not even mad.
I want to take a moment to admire how the anti-softlock completely inverts the game logic of the Mario games. Obstacles that are usually meant to create lethal hazards have been turned on their head. The player is trying to die, but these obstacles are now hindering that effort. Something to think about for later. And for one last hit of blasphemy, as I was writing this essay, there were some delightful new discoveries in Super Mario Maker 2. Carl Sagan42, one of the most popular members of the SMM troll community, put together Year of the Guts. In this level, players must avoid colliding with these wigglers while wearing a helmet, otherwise, the game will hardlock.
When did hardlocks become a thing in this game?
Meaning that players had to go back to the Switch home screen, close the game software, and relaunch Super Mario Maker 2 every time this happened.
Well done on the hardlock. Great guts. Great guts. I'm about to share or not to share. Do I get Carl banned?
This is pretty dang evil, but don't worry, the troll community got their revenge on Carl with a hardlock of their own.
You got the wrong guy. Wait, no, you're right. I deserve this. There's a hard lock in SMB1 or whatever one this is. There's another hard lock.
If you'd like to know more about how these hardlocks work, I will probably put a card up there and links in the description. I don't really have much more to add here. Despite being perhaps the most difficult troll type to achieve, I think Blasphemy is one of the easier ones to grasp conceptually. We at last come to our final gear, which is a bit of a special case like reverse is on a car. And one of the things I'd like to drive home here is that troll design, even though it is constantly subverting game design norms, still needs to adhere to game design concerns to be effective. Like any other artistic medium, pacing and direction are vital to game design. To borrow terminology from other media, let's consider the use of tension. Tension is a great way to keep your audience engaged, but if you are constantly ratcheting it up without providing any release, you're going to burn your audience out. Likewise, if you're too conservative with tension, your audience will become bored. Game design has a concept of a flow channel, which describes something similar in terms of game difficulty. The flow channel is a sweet spot where the player is challenged enough to feel engaged, but not so much that they're frustrated. The flow channel also captures the dynamism here. As a player gets better at a game by playing it, the challenges must scale up in response to keep them in flow. This same concept applies to troll levels, although troll design is not about difficulty. All this to say is that troll levels need to consider this psychological lens as well. If the player is constantly bombarded with relentless trolls, they're going to acclimate to it and the trolls will have diminished effectiveness. As a good horror movie creates some quieter and calmer moments to release tension before future scares, the troll level should offer an occasional reprieve to its players so that upcoming trolls land harder. Enter the anti-troll, which looks and behaves much like the troll setups we've discussed here, but pulls its punch at the last second. Or maybe it actually does punch the player, but gives them an ice pack afterwards. Anti-trolls are usually great gags unto themselves, but as I've alluded to here, they act as accents or punctuation that can greatly enhance the overall pacing and psychology of a troll level.
Very salty. I'm very... God damn it, dude. Wait, what was that? Wait, what? It gave it back to me! Oh, that's benevolent! It gave it back to me! And there's probably something off screen here. Oh, that was cute! That was the cutest troll!
The anti-troll has a wide array of psychological uses in a troll level. A fake out can cause a temporary panic followed by immediate relief, which can be extremely effective in disarming the player for an actual troll just afterward. An anti-troll also allows a creator to be seemingly outright cruel initially, but make the overall outcome less aggravating. The example for this is when level creators key death a player, but create a mechanism for giving the player the key back right after they respawn. This allows for a best of both worlds situation. The level creator still gets the player to freak out about a key death in the moment, but the player doesn't have to replay the entire level again. This is part of a wider practice that troll players attribute to what they call benevolent level creators.
We're good. We're going down to CP1 poop shoot. Benevolent level creator! There was no CP1! How is it a... Wait, did he make a twice CP1 just to not have a CP1? A twice CP1 that just to not actually have a CP1.
Obviously, said creators are still out to troll these players, but the community acknowledges that a little mercy can go a long way in ensuring troll levels are enjoyable. There are also ways to be extra patronizing with anti-trolls along these lines, a sort of killing the player with kindness. In the psychological warfare of trolls, sometimes the best weapon is pity.
I could checkpoint one you, is what that said there. That's what is implying. He's like, I could checkpoint one you here. You deserved it. You had it coming, but I'm not. This time, I am not.
Quick aside, I would be remiss to not mention the sort of physical comedy that trolls and anti-trolls are capable of. Just look at some of these setups. This is game design slapstick if I've ever seen it.
Hello. No.
Yes. Uh-huh. This isn't gonna work. Darn it!
Go fast. Oh!
Yo, dumb! Wait, what? Why does it... Why is it so... Can I get out? Can I get out? No, I can't. Why is it so slow?
Oh, I don't. Hey, we're good. Were you happy to see me, Firebar?
That is really good. That's awesome. That is awesome. It's like playing ping pong.
It's a useless machine, but it's a position-based useless machine, and it's like, you want this? Too bad.
Oh, golly gosh.
How is this going to jank? My people need me!
Yeah. Yes. Oh, wait! I didn't know what actually caused the death there? So... worth it. Those King Bling 30-second fake death sequences were like the best thing ever. I loved it. Plus, it's kind of a moment to decompress from the trolls as well. Like, it gives you a minute to like, you're like, you take a break from destroying your brain to watch Saturday morning cartoons, right?
What?
Fine. What? What?
What happened? What is that? What the heck is that? That's so stupid looking. Whee!
Oh, what was that? Hold what? Left. Hold left when? At? Hold left when? Hold left at...
Oh god.
How? How?
I've talked for a while about how trolls work, but I want to shift our focus more on why I think troll design is so important that I decided to make a 170-minute long video about it. Don't worry, we will go in depth on a level and how it incorporates all the various gears later. For now though, I want to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, because something incredible is going on here. Video games are a relatively young medium, and thus designing them is a nascent discipline, no more than 4 decades old at most. And with any new method of expression, it takes a good amount of time to sort out what works and what doesn't. It's no different for video games, and I would go further to argue that they are in a uniquely difficult position. The video game is an audiovisual narrative medium like film and television, but it's also an interactive one that has antecedents in sports, puzzles, card, and tabletop games. Video games can also emulate the spirit of individual, non-competitive challenges like mountain climbing, whitewater rafting, and so on. They also rely on computing technology, which has seen massive innovations over these past 4 decades, explosively expanding the technical capabilities of video games. In short, the possibility space of video games is immense, with a large set of potential concerns that are oftentimes in conflict with one another, especially narrative and interactivity. When I say making games is hard, I'm usually referring to the tough technical and creative problems we game devs have to solve daily. But if I reflect on all that I've laid out here, maybe it really is a far more fundamental issue. Therefore, I must say that I am very confused by anyone who asserts that everything's been done in the realm of game design. I don't think we've even scratched the surface of what this art form can do. I say this as someone who believes that games have already achieved incredible and innovative artistic feats. So much so that I've made game development my career and analyzing games, this whole business here, my primary hobby. If what we've seen games do so far is but a tiny fraction of their potential, I can't wait to see what will come in the future. This desire, and what is getting in the way of it, is articulated by Nier series director Yoko Taro in his 2014 Game Developers Conference talk, Making Weird Games for Weird People. He conceptualizes a circular space that represents what video games are technically capable of, then draws a smaller circle within that represents what games have achieved thus far. Yoko Taro argues that the reason why games have not frolicked around in this wider circle is because we have fenced them in with an invisible wall. This wall is composed of all the notions about what we shouldn't do in games. As video games tend to be made primarily in corporate environments, one of the major culprits is the concern that a particular game concept won't sell. That's just one extremely common notion that is limiting games, but there are some that go deeper. Every artistic medium, as it matures, develops a set of best practices or rules of thumb. These are tried and true approaches that help steer artists away from common pitfalls and hopefully toward creating something enjoyable or meaningful. Take for instance the 180-degree rule in film and TV, which ensures cutting between shots of 2 characters talking doesn't get confusing. As helpful as these guidelines and frameworks can be, they can also restrict creativity by imposing boundaries and limiting our imagination, and the audience will eventually become keen to these tropes and techniques before long.
Thanks for that hint. You know, I wouldn't have figured it out without that hint. Thanks. It's much appreciated. This is the real shaft, isn't it? Grab. I get it! I get it! This is disrespectful.
As such, we will never break down this invisible wall as long as we rigidly and unquestioningly adhere to norms and conventions. Now, I can acknowledge that much of this game design heritage exists for very good reasons, and it might seem foolish to challenge some of these supposed truths. But to quote William Blake's Proverbs of Hell, if others had not been foolish, we should be so. In my eyes, this is precisely what troll levels have done. Those early levels were foolish, not all that different from the awful hot Garbo levels of their day. They certainly flew in the face of good taste, to say the least. And yes, it turns out some creative boundaries exist for very good reasons. But if I may add another proverb of hell, if a fool were to persist in his folly, he would become wise. The troll community, by their persistent efforts to undermine game design norms, have in turn revealed new game design wisdom. The way I see it, the variety of troll gears we've explored today, deceit, farce, blasphemy, and so on, embody the game design versions of satire, the unreliable narrator, and a wide array of other deconstructions found in older media like literature, film, and the like.
No! No! No!
If game design is a language, troll levels aren't just expanding our vocabulary, they're adding new syntax and new semantics as well. By daring to step out of bounds and risk being absurd, troll levels are enriching game design for everyone. Troll design is still mostly an obscure niche in games, but we're seeing signs that it's beginning to break out and reach a broader audience. Very minor spoiler for Elden Ring here, by the way. Skip to this time here if you want to avoid discussion about a specific dungeon. Okay? Okay. The Oriza side tomb features this chapel-esque room, with a chest up at the altar and a hidden passage on the side leading to another chest. Both of these chests are actually teleporter traps, which move the player to other parts of the dungeon. When the player advances after these teleports, they come upon this familiar sight. Since I'm talking about troll design outside of Mario Maker here, I bet you've guessed what's going on here. Yup, this is a twice. Now, as you can see, I'm a weenie and very cautious when playing From Software games, but my appreciation for troll design served me well here, and I correctly surmised what was going on. Be assured that there's some nasty traps waiting for players who think they've returned to a room they've previously cleared. Even successfully dodging these hazards, I gotta say experiencing this in Elden Ring really drove home how disorienting a twice can be. I definitely had some difficulties remembering exactly where I was, especially when trying to get out of this dungeon. It's a feeling that I've rarely experienced in video games, a hostility that goes beyond just enemies and snares and pitfalls. A twice bakes this hostility into the foundation of the level design itself. Also, there's another dungeon in Elden Ring that does a twice, or perhaps a thrice, but I don't have the time to dig through my footage to find it. If you want to win all the internet points, go ahead and mention the name of the dungeon down below in the comments. Thanks. Games have been around long enough now that veteran players have become literate and accustomed to rote game design. And sure, we've seen a game here and a game there that have challenged popular and established trends. For example, Spec Ops: The Line deconstructs the standard narrative frame most games operate within, while Undertale comments on the nature of RPG systems. But troll levels operate on another stratum. They don't just satirize specific game design patterns or their common outcomes, but the foundational assumptions of game design itself. It goes beyond just asking, does a game need to be fun, and onto more interesting queries, such as, how can we deceive the player in a way that is still engaging and fair? Again, what is most remarkable about troll design is that it's ultimately good game design. It's a lot like the theory of relativity with regard to Newtonian physics. That is, troll levels don't debunk game design so much as provide important caveats and addenda.
That is smart.
The rules of game design still apply in most cases, but troll design shows us the cases where it doesn't. And by doing this, troll levels are expanding, enriching, and refining our conception of game design. I'm no prognosticator, but I foresee troll design patterns continuing to make inroads in the mainstream in the near future. When a big budget game makes waves on social media for using troll tactics, remember, you heard it here first. Regardless of whether that happens, troll design has made a place for itself within video game culture, and it's here to stay. I started this video by mentioning Marcel Duchamp, who made a name for himself by submitting a urinal to an art exhibition. Now, you can probably surmise how I feel about this given the trajectory of this essay. I think it's pretty rad. But why is it rad? Well, it all comes back to art and how I define art as communication. Or rather, communication is art. What Duchamp communicates with Fountain is something that desperately needs to be said. It raises questions about the nature of art. It forces us to confront that many of the ways we define art are flawed. Many people argue that Fountain is not a work of art because it's not transformative enough. But that begs a deeper question. What is the threshold of transformation? At some point, all artists must make use of something they found or something created by other people. Is a painter not an artist if they don't make and stretch their own canvases, concoct their own paints from scratch, or fabricate their own brushes? That seems rather ridiculous, doesn't it? So when does something become art? We could try to articulate some sort of standard or set of criteria that a creative work must meet to gain the lofty label of art. Then the question is, whose standard would we use? Does this standard apply uniformly to all media? Is this a Boolean standard? That is this a clear-cut, discrete distinction between what is and isn't art? Or is it analog and something can be extra arty if it exceeds this standard? Why are we even fussing over the label of art to begin with? Isn't it just easier to say that people make stuff and they call it art than it's just art? What exactly are we gaining by gatekeeping here? Why do we need to attach a value judgment to this determination at all? However you answer, these questions are the legacy of Dada, the anti-art movement of which old friend Marcel here was a key figure. Dada's influence can be seen throughout the 20th century and today, inspiring both adherents and critics alike. But pardon if I'm repeating myself a bit here, I think its impact is more foundational than just its notoriety. To use art to call into question the very nature of art is, in my mind, the essence of liberation.
Because art is an outlet towards regions which are not ruled by time and space.
By doing this, we often find that many of the rules, norms, and practices that have been drilled into us as universal truths are not so. This leads us to wonder how such conventions came into being, who made them, and who they continue to serve, if anyone at all. Now, even if this doesn't result in some grand cultural upheaval, this critical assessment is still vital. It shows us that nothing is beyond reproach. This applies to everything, not just the fine art world. Consider punk rock for a moment. Its compositions are usually simple, its artists are often amateurish, its production values and recording qualities are frequently, well, lossy is a good term. All this stems from the DIY ethos that defines punk, which makes music and the process of making music available to practically anyone. No longer is music the sole province of virtuosos, and you no longer need some rich dude to notice you and give you a record deal to make an album. Punk is anti-music in the same way Dada is anti-art. It challenges a hegemonic pretense of what music should be, and in doing so, democratizes music for the masses. So then, is it really fitting to be talking about Mario troll levels, a subculture of a subculture micro niche, in the same breath as Dada and punk rock? Well, I think you know my answer. Troll levels are subversive art. But don't take my word on it. That the ever brand-conscious Nintendo is constantly deleting troll levels off the Super Mario Maker servers is confirmation enough of their subversive nature.
People spend a lot of time making levels and they have to keep them offline because Nintendo might actually take their entire account offline. So any troll level, glitches or no, are at risk of being deleted. So if you boo troll levels or anything like that, just don't go reporting them. Don't go reporting troll levels.
I feel like it's like I have to go into the back alleys of Discords to be like, hey, you got any of them good troll levels? Just like, I need my fix.
And as we will be taking a much closer look at here in a few, Defender's troll level was exhibited by a legit art institution. Troll levels are subversive art. But hold on, that's an argument from authority, which is especially curious because I'm defending artistic endeavors that are all about being antagonistic to authority. The irony is not lost on me. So let's dig deeper and really get into why I believe Mario troll levels belong in conversation with the Dada and punk rock. One observation I have as an outsider is that the troll community seems to have a good amount of the punk spirit. A recent anecdote is the Bandwagon Saga, a team of creators who put together a 35-level tribute to the history of trolling in Mario Maker called Super Wagon World. The team figured that Nintendo would take down their levels soon after they uploaded them, which if done too many times would eventually result in a permanent ban of their account. Expecting this, the team uploaded their levels on days and at times that Nintendo's content moderation team, based out of Japan, was likely not at work. They've also communicated when uploads are about to happen in order to maximize the time players have to download the levels. Downloaded levels persist on people's consoles no matter what Nintendo does.
I think it's a shame that we're kind of...
They're so sanitized now.
It's so sanitized, and that we kind of have to be in this adversarial relationship with Nintendo. We don't want that. I would love nothing more than to be able to just upload our levels and leave them there and have Nintendo just host them.
That would be
even if we got shadow banned or something, where you don't get it in endless, or you don't see it unless you specifically enter the code.
That would actually
be
be
okay
even
with
more ideal, because many people don't like troll levels, and it's a pain giving them it because they end no skip runs.
Yeah,
and we don't want to do that. It just creates an adversarial relationship between endless runners and troll creators, when
Absolutely.
a simple unlisted button would fix that completely. Because we don't want that to happen, and if there was an unlisted button, we would use it.
The Bandwagon team has also leveraged several accounts to get their levels back up following bans. Ordinarily, I wouldn't condone ban evasion tactics like this. It tends to be done in service of harassing and brigading marginalized individuals, and in general, trying to circumvent people's boundaries is just bad and wrong, you know? But we're talking about a corporation here, and corporations aren't people. Eat my ass, Citizens United. So in this case, I think it's great. Also, if you're going to take down levels for having bugs and glitches in a game you haven't patched in 3 years, well, please just do better, Nintendo. Aren't troll levels exactly the type of emergent gameplay that you are looking to foster with Mario Maker? And maybe even mine for future releases? I'm on to you. That the Bandwagon team is still at it, going to great lengths to get their art out there in spite of a capitalist enterprise's relentless brand sanitization is, well, I think that's really cool. And yeah, maybe even a little radical. On one side, we have a corporation, which by its capital wields immense legal power and also has total control of this particular platform. On the other, we have a group of individuals of modest means who value their art so deeply that they defy this authority and continue to push their work. Consequences be damned. If that's not the spirit of punk, I don't know what is. But as I've made a habit of saying in this video, this goes even deeper. Troll levels employ glitches and other wacky emergent interactions in a practice known as queer use.
Is this completely effing glitched out? Is this completely freaking glitched out? What is oh, mate, what have you done? What have you done?
Queer use is oftentimes seen as perversion and improper use that transgresses social norms and order. And when it comes to troll levels, I think that shoe fits, especially in the case of a staple blasphemy we discussed earlier, the anti-softlock. When a troll level traps a player in an anti-softlock, the objective of the game is now perverted. We're usually meant to usher Mario toward the end goal safely through whatever harmful obstacles the level places before us. But now we're trying to kill Mario as quickly as possible, and the level antagonizes us by keeping us alive. We've undergone an inversion of values. This perversion is at the heart of two important facets of troll levels: the constantly changing troll meta and the interactive nature of this medium. The troll meta demands novelty. It's perpetually pushing troll creators to find innovative ways to transgress.
The point is to find the exceptions that prove the rule. Yeah, at the time, I will very much admit this is my own mistake. I could not conceive of a situation in which it would ever make sense to soft lock the player, and that was short-sighted of me. And we have since learned that if you have a situation where you specifically want the player to start over because you've given them a knowledge checkpoint or a level is the level is a lie type scenario or something like that, a soft lock is the perfect way to go about it.
The troll levels of Legend are all ones that did something unexpected and original and, dare I say, shocking. And this is why the troll community in Super Mario Maker is as lively as it's ever been, despite the game not receiving any meaningful updates for almost 3 years now.
This level is a little delight. I really think that... Oh god. I honestly think that the past, I'm going to say even the past year, there has been, in my opinion, this great and amazing resurgence of just amazing levels, one after another after another. And like, it's like people's creativity hasn't even begun to end. Which is crazy to think about because trolls have been around for literally years. Literally years. It's not just the year of the troll. This is like the decade of the troll.
I feel like right now we're at that point to where nothing seems impossible with a troll. Like, why would I try to deliberately jump into a spike? Or why would I intentionally? There's so many things that would make no sense for me to attempt to do that makes sense in a troll level. And I love that. I love that it just completely subverts my expectations in every way. We're at this point where people are skilled at really skilled at making this stuff. And it just blows my mind.
This thirst for newness not only ensures the freshness of the levels themselves, but coming back to queer use, emphasis on the verb use there, it also fosters an active practice of creativity and ingenuity that abhors the status quo. And on the other side of the troll meta, players experience something similar via the interactive element of games. Most immediately, one needs to be adaptable to conquer a troll level. Relying on experience or routine or some sort of playbook is a surefire way to get those things turned against you. Troll levels constantly upset the received wisdom of the Mario games. Power-ups aren't always good, that coin trail over there is a lie, and that conspicuously obvious death trap is actually the way forward. On top of this, troll players frequently face situations that present a dichotomy, but the solution to these, more often than not, is to reject this either-or thinking.
Oh, you both do and don't at the same time. So I think we do that and then move.
Oftentimes, the best move a troll player can make is to throw out everything they've been taught and to think for themselves. And that's terrifying, isn't it? To think for yourself means that there's no one else to blame when you get something wrong. And you will get stuff wrong. And probably quite frequently if you're just starting out. With troll levels, that's a crucial aspect of the experience. Guessing wrong and getting trolled is the main source of fun.
There's no way I'm guessing this stuff. How would I ever predict this?
But it's also rewarding for a player to sniff out or just guess what a troll is and dodge it.
Wait, I did it right by being... I big-brained my way into the wrong solution.
Again, there's no universal strategy to fall back on here. If there was, it would be quickly made obsolete thanks to the troll meta. So defeating a troll level is a practice in independent thinking.
But I do love when, I guess, players or creators, whether it's Carl or whoever, when they do something like that, where they have sort of a rule that they kind of sort of say playfully on stream, but they have in their head. and people sort of play on that. So one of my favorite ones that I had said, you know what, 50 coin is never, 20 coin is maybe, 10 coins always yes, right? That's my rule. I'm always going to do it. And I think it was King Bling who a week later created a level that was 100% based around those rules. And there was so many, like, I was like, nah, this is the rule. I'm sticking with it. And I just had so much fun because I thought, wow, I said this on a whim last week. Like, it wasn't even I didn't even plan on, it was just like out of frustration. I was just like, you know, f this, I'm creating a rule. And then someone comes along and sort of makes a level around it.
I earnestly believe that troll levels demonstrate a different way to see the world. They show us that conventions, norms, and rules are just suggestions, really. If the supposed laws of game design can be broken to make some truly ingenious creations, what other arbitrary impositions do we uncritically accept in our lives? What incredible experiences lie beyond the invisible wall Yoko Taro describes, not just in video games, but in our day-to-day lives? Troll levels, whether in their creation or in their play, foster a mentality and practice of thinking out of bounds that may have great liberatory potential. Just something to think about. As promised, let's take a look at Defender's submission to the Fine Art Institute of Leipzig's Unendlich project in the town of Thalwitz, Germany. The exhibit's focus was conceptual art, and so Defender was invited to create a Mario Maker troll level by one of the event's curators. The result was Trollwitz, Fail to Succeed, considered to be a masterpiece of troll design and perhaps Defender's magnum opus. As I mentioned before, we're going to be discussing many parts of this level in depth, so if you want to experience it unspoilt, well, now's the time to do so. The great news is that this level is still up on the Super Mario Maker 2 servers. I'll put up Defender's creator code and the current level code on screen right now, and in the description down there. Barring that, I highly recommend you check out these troll players' videos of playing the level, which is also a great time in and of itself. Trollwitz is a red coin level, so I won't go into all of the sections in depth because that would be rather gratuitous. Instead, I'm going to focus on one particular section that really showcases how shifting through various troll gears makes for a really engrossing experience. Also, I already showed this segment of another section already, so here is our red coin hub, and here are our 4 sections. Our subject will be this section found in the P-block hut. Our first screen here provides a simple looking trap. This question block is needed to progress, and this note block is placed in an all too convenient position. Bouncing off of it activates the trap, which is far more elaborate than it looks. The result is that it places a launcher that blocks the path of progress. The correct answer is to avoid the note block and to hit this block by jumping from this raised platform here. We're also presented with this P-switch door. Moving forward, the player is faced with not 1, not 2, but 3 potential traps, all of which punish hesitation and caution. This thwomp will react to the player's proximity and activate the P switches down here, but if the player tries to double back to the P door, they will find themselves trapped. Likewise, if they freeze, this thwomp will very quickly slide upward and block the way forward. Lastly, this launched dry bone shell will likely trigger a reflexive dodge for most players. This dry bone shell is of course the key for progress and is expertly lined up so that a player plowing forward at full speed will put it on.
Oh, I bet you it lines up. Oh my god, I bet you that lines up perfectly. If I know Defender, that's gonna line up really, really perfect and you gotta just go. And that's gonna be awesome. Oh, that is just beautiful. That is just beauty.
Next is a wall where it looks like the solution is to do a double jump out of the dry bone shell. If you're curious what this Z is, it's an on-screen indicator instructing the player to do so. But this is deceit. The Z hint was actually the real solution here, as it contains a hidden block with a spring that allows the player to keep their shell going forward. Also, I just want to call out that not only is this shown with this next hint here, but if the player backtracks to the wall, they get a very clear demonstration of the solution. Brilliant design and execution. The next obstacle facing players is a set of on-off blocks, where this time the shell double jump is correct and needed to reach the on-off switch to open the way, but a rather devious ambush, and also a delightful example of troll-level slapstick, awaits players who parked their shell a bit too close here.
Okay. Yeah. Oh!
Okay, cool. Do that. No! No! Oh my god, that's lovely! That is so delightful!
As it turns out, they need the shell to activate this block to get the mushroom to break through these blocks. Once past this obstacle, players are presented with a pick-a-path. Only it's deceit, or an anti-troll, or maybe a little of each. The key thing is, both paths are wrong. We get another hint about how to proceed. That is, to turn back after activating the on-off switch. Doing this, a P-switch will now be acquirable right here at this old P-door, which is even more tantalizing now since it was blocked off by a trap earlier. But no, this is a farce, and we get rewarded with the instructions for how to actually complete this section and a very bare bones anti-soft lock. We're to carry the P-switch back past the swamp and use it instead of the mushroom to advance past these blocks. We're back at the fake pick-a-path, but this time we've got a bit of time pressure applied. This P-switch is going to expire. This, combined with the knowledge that there was no functional difference between these two paths previously, will almost assuredly drive players down the freefall option on the left. But it's a breach of contract.
Are they both still all wrong? No!
The blocks beneath the left exit have been destroyed and players fall to their doom. The correct answer was the slow donut ride down on the right side. This section is as good as troll design gets, in my opinion, shifting the gears to create a roller coaster of devious delight. It has it all. Layers of traps, a tactical ambush, several doses of deceit, a brilliant breach of contract, and some farce peppered in for flavor. All we're missing is blasphemy, but don't you worry, this is all part of Trollwitz's grand reveal. As we will see, this level's metagame has more layers than Damascus steel. Completing the 4 sections, we grab our safety coin, unlock the door, and find ourselves here. Betraying the very notion of a red coin level, this knowledge checkpoint tells us that Trollwitz must be completed in a specific order.
You have to do them in the right order? Did you just pick an order that you thought, no, this, what?
That is so good. And you know what's good about the order is I don't think many people would start with the bottom right. I would say that most people don't start with bottom right. We all go left to right because we're programmed that way. That's so good.
Upon this reveal, players are sent back to the checkpoint with their red coins reset. A key death, and arguably something the troll community calls a CP0. We're right back at the beginning, and we've got to do the entire level all over again, but do it right this time. Game design blasphemy par excellence. This is, of course, an opportunity to twice the players as they replay all the sections again, which Defender certainly takes advantage of. My favorite, which comes from one of the other sections, is this screen right here.
Go away. Get out of here. Okay, what if I have to hit the on and off switch again? I bet you that's next. Set. Block. Let the record show! Let the record show! Hit switch. In we go. Oh, this is gonna be different. I'm scared. This is gonna be different. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be different. Okay. Is this actually it? What was that? Is that different? Wait. It says set the block to blue. Wait. How does the text? How is the?
Oh, Wait, did I not hit it again? Said wait, but to blue. Wait.
Okay. Oh man. Do I remember them all? What? No way! This is to blue!
Wait, wasn't that? Are we in twice? I can't remember. Is that? I could have swore it said leave it on red before. Now it says blue.
Wow, that's awesome. Where are the texts come from?
Red blue change with 4 bombs, a winged block, a spike ball, 3 blocks with fireballs, a thwomp, a pow, a boom boom, and a switch state. And a P switch that only activates when you don't go in the order. What have you created?
Coming back to our section of interest here, the way is now blocked and our only option is to enter the P-switch door. Last time this was just a hint revealing the farce of this section and an anti-soft lock before, so naturally players have a bit of apprehension here. Defender is of course banking on this, because this subsection is no longer a hint. It's the way forward providing the player moves to the left fast enough. I should probably also make note that during this second playthrough loop, the other checkpoint is inaccessible, meaning players can no longer save their progress. As this is also the last section of the order prescribed by the knowledge checkpoint, that means if players fail here, they get to do everything all over again. They can only truly progress by avoiding all the trolls in one go. But no problem, right? We will eventually master these twice variations, collect all the red coins, and we'll surely complete the level now. Or will we?
GG's! Because Defender wouldn't do it a 3rd time.
Well, as it turns out, this knowledge checkpoint is itself a farce, or a breach of contract, or deceit, or it's just operating on so many levels that it's just impossible to categorize. At the very least, the red coins are a farce, because, you see, the order that it presented wasn't a lie, but it did lie by omission because the true solution is to skip this red coin in this first section.
I don't collect the coin. I don't collect the coin. I don't collect the coin. So... Oh god! Okay. 3rd order!
Could you have done those sections without getting the red coins? Or just that one. There's one level where you cannot get the... I think that's what it's saying, is it's only in this one? Can you not get the red coin in this one? How do you not get the red coin in this one? You just leave! You just leave! You don't have to get the...
Another key death, another CP0, back again we go. But Defender wouldn't twice us again, surely.
Who would have ever predicted that we would be in a CP0 machine asking legitimately, like not jokingly asking, legitimately asking whether Defender would send us on a quadruple key death to CP0. This is the end game in Mario Maker trolling that I never thought that we would get to.
Well, it does turn out that the first 3 sections are the same as last time. This brings us, of course, to our highlighted section, which surely must be to go in the P-switch door, run left, grab the invincibility star, and progress like last time. Right? Wrong. The thrice is here, with the right side now opening up and allowing the player to progress through without the star. And for any player who gets trapped here, well, go back and do the other 3 sections again. You do the order again, skipping this coin this time, and at long last you've reached the end. For real? Defender's evil designs are over. You can just go and touch the goal and nope.
understand how to win. If we hadn't hit this one, we could jump up there. That's it. No explanation, no nothing. Just this solemn fate. Savage.
There's hidden blocks that will prevent you from finishing the level. Go and do it again, you nerd! And when you do, jump from the side this time, alright? GG. This is what troll design is all about. Layers and layers of subterfuge all masterfully woven together into a not just coherent, but a brilliantly realized example of game and level design. Look at these contraptions. Think about how divinely or infernally inspired this design is. If this isn't subversive art, I don't know what is. When we look at life outside of Mario Maker, trolling these days gets a bad rap. And, well, deservedly so. It is frequently the tactic of, let's be real here, immature and incurious people whose sole source of joy seems to be exerting whatever minuscule shred of power they have over those below them in the social hierarchy. But to assign trolling as the sole province of such pathetic bullies would be a mistake, in my opinion. Trolling, when done well, gives us a much-needed dose of humility. Maybe we don't have everything figured out as we thought. Maybe the way we've always done things is kinda silly when you step back and look at it. Maybe there's some truly incredible new experiences out there if we check our assumptions at the door. Whatever the case, just remember what troll levels have shown us today. Trolling is primarily about mischief, not cruelty. Please troll responsibly, and thanks for watching. Extra special thanks for sticking around all the way to the end here. I first want to give a shout out to the entire Mario Maker troll community for their help, support, and encouragement in making this video. There's two groups within the community that I think frequently get overlooked or are underappreciated by us troll watchers, so I want to give them their well-deserved flowers. The first group is those fine folks out there who playtest troll levels. These playtesters log a lot of hours that help make troll levels the well-oiled engines of mischief you've seen here. If you're a troll playtester, you have my permission to self-promote in the comments because you rule. The second group I want to shout out are the video editors of the various channels I've clipped here. I want to make sure that folks understand that many of these really funny editing gags in this video are their work and not mine. Also, they sift through some long streams to condense them down into these highly watchable playthrough VODs, which can certainly be quite the chore. This video certainly would not have been possible without the hard work of these editors. Thank you. On that note, I've compiled a playlist of all the troll levels I've referenced in this video. Link will be toward the top of the description. Please go check that out if you're interested. I really hope this sparked a desire to watch, play, or even make troll levels. Special thanks to CarlSagan42 for the use of clips from his channel, and lastly, here are the incredible people featured in this video in their own words. Go subscribe to them.
Hi, I'm Janine. I make I make stupid troll levels, and I stream on Twitch at Janine. I also make music for games and stuff. So yeah, that's me.
Hi, I'm Marble. I make even stupider troll levels. Most of the time they don't work unless I've got Janine to call me out on my chicanery. That's not a good word. And I supposedly have a Twitch, although I haven't used it in a year and a half.
Hi, I'm Stevo. I make the troll levels, and I have a YouTube channel with some stuff on it.
Most people haven't heard of Stevo. He's kind of a, you know...
Yeah, very unknown
a niche
troll creator here.
A niche unknown troll creator.
You should also advertise your game, Stevo. Stevo's actually a game dev.
Yes!
Well, no, I won't do that yet. It's not...
It's a cool game. It's very rough, but it is a really cool concept.
I'm Geek. I play troll levels on Mario Maker 2. I'm really the person that probably most people find to be, like I said before, find to be the anti-hero of troll levels. I think what I do is really try to push the limits of what creators want to create or are inspired to create. Have a lot of really interesting contests, in my opinion, stuff that probably people haven't seen before, whether it's a fourth wall contest. I do have plans for another contest this year that will sort of break the mold a little bit again. Don't want to reveal anything just yet because I'm still sort of working it out, but I do have plans for another contest this year that'll be different to previous years. I really just want to shout out to the whole community, really. Shout out to the troll makers, the troll watchers, the troll playtesters. We're all one big team, it feels. You know, nothing doesn't exist without the other. There are no streams without chat. There are no levels without the streamers, and there are no streamers without the levels. To me, I feel like we're all one big team that helps this community keeping on moving forward. You can find me on twitch.tv/freakinggeek, YouTube by the same name, Freaking Geek, and Twitter by the same tag, Freaking Geek.
Okay, well, I am Tanuki Dan. I do retro early in the morning every now and again. I generally play Mario Maker 2, followed by indie games. I love indie games. I love supporting smaller content creators and game developers and musicians, and I'm a musician myself. I'm really bad at this. If you want someone who's bouncy and full of positivity while also not being like fake with positivity, I'm very much grounded in reality. Check me out. I think you'll find a very positive experience, or you can just laugh at my expense when I'm playing Trolls. I hope to see you there.
I'm Defender. I stream on Twitch at Defender1031. I also have a YouTube channel that I don't upload to as frequently as I used to, but still upload to occasionally. Also under the same name. And I really want to shout out the entire community and just everybody's creativity. I especially want to shout out some of the smaller streamers and the mods who work behind the scenes to keep the community running as smoothly as it does. People like Senator Bust, Cheery, Box Gaming. I'm probably leaving out far more names than I am including, and I apologize to all of the people who I have not thought of the top of my head. But just the entire community is awesome, and I love everybody.